Lesson number 18, solving problems involving stocks. Lesson objectives. At the end of this module, you should be able to understand the concept of buying stocks, read the stock market table, solve problems involving stocks. Productivity tip. At the beginning of each study session, write down the tasks you're going to work on. It's easy to get sidetracked during a work session, which is where the study tip comes in handy. On a rough sheet of paper, write down the specific task you're going to work on and put it on your study table. This will remind you to maintain your focus on the task as you're working on it. Now let's define first what is stock market. Stock market refers to public markets that exist for issuing, buying, and selling stocks that trade on a stock exchange or over the counter. Now, stocks, it is also known as equities, represent fractional ownership in a company. And yung tinatawag nating stock market is where investors can buy and sell ownership of such investable assets. Now, an efficiently functioning stock market is considered critical to economic development, as it gives companies the ability to quickly access capital from the public. Stock means ownership. As an owner, you have the claim on the assets and earnings of a company, as well as voting rights with your shares. Stocks have a low barrier to entry. You don't need to already be wealthy to own them. Let's have a further understanding of stocks. Stock is a share in the ownership of a company. The price of the stock is called the market value, diba? This is from the stock market. Okay, so ang tawag dun is the price of the stock is called the market value. Dividends, or the stockholder share of corporate earnings, are based on the par, not on the market value. Stock prices change according to supply and demand. There are many factors influencing prices, the most important of which is earnings. Of course, sobrang laki ng factor ng earnings or yung kita doon sa stock prices. Also, it change according to the supply and demand. So, sa supply and demand, diba, sa araling palipunan before, na pag-aralan nyo na pag mababa ang supply, mataas ang demand. Pag mataas ang supply, mababa ang demand. There are two main types of stock, the preferred stock and the common stock. So, dun muna tayo kay preferred stock. When we say preferred stock, this is further divided into categories, see non-participating and the participating. So, what's the difference between these two? Non-participating, which means the stockholders receive only the fixed dividend and no more. Kaya nga siya non-participating, fixed dividend and no more. And for participating, it means the stockholders may receive additional dividends if the company does well. So, pwede silang makatanggap ng additional dividends. Second type of stock is common stock. This is one of the most common stocks. They are observed over time to yield returns for as long as company is doing well. Okay, so let's have the comparison between common and preferred stock. Common stock, there is an ownership of company also for the preferred stock. And for voting rights, common stock meron, si preferred stock wala. Liquidation preference for common stock after preferred, and then for preferred stock before common. Obligation to pay dividends, common stock none, and then preferred stock. Okay, so they have the obligation to pay dividends. And for dividend rate, common stock fluctuates each period, and then for preferred stock, fixed rate. So this is the formula for dividends per share for the common stock. So DPS, dividends per share, for common stock is equal to the total dividend divided by the number of shares for common. Ano ba kasing tinatawag natin na dividend? Dividend, this is a share of profits and retained earnings that a company pays out to its shareholders. Now, when a company generates a profit and accumulates retained earnings, those earnings can be either reinvested in the business or paid out to shareholders as a dividend. Now, to solve the amount of dividend, dividend is equal to the rate of dividend times DPS times the number of shares. Here are the steps to distribute dividends in preferred and common stock. Okay, so there are steps to distribute dividends for both preferred and common stock. Step 1, if the preferred stock is cumulative, any dividends that are in arrears are paid first. Then the preferred dividend is paid for the current period. So when the dividend per share is stated in pesos, no par stock, so go to step 2. When the dividend per share is stated in percent or par stock, multiply the par value by the dividend rate. The entity that issues a financial instrument like a bond or stock assigns a par value to it. So what is par value? Par value, it refers to the face value of a security and the terms are interchangeable. Okay, so the formula naman for dividend per share for the preferred, that is equal to par value times the dividend rate. So multiplication naman for dividend per share ng preferred stock. Pag common stock, ito, divide. Step 2, calculate the total amount of the preferred stock dividend by multiplying the number of preferred shares by the dividend per share. So this is the formula. For the total preferred dividend, that is equal to the number of shares times dividend per share. Step 3, calculate the total common stock dividend by subtracting the total preferred stock dividend from the total dividend declared. Okay, so that's the formula. Total common dividend is equal to the total dividend minus the total preferred dividend. And step 4, calculate the dividends per share for common stock by dividing the total common stock dividend by number of shares of common stock. Ito yung formula kanina, yung DPS or dividend per share for the common stock. So just divide total common dividend divided by the number of shares for common. Stock is equity, bonds are debt. Bondholders are guaranteed a return on their investment and have a higher claim than shareholders. This is generally why stocks are considered riskier investments and require a higher rate of return. Okay, so let's have this example. Nandito na yung sagot sa baba. Okay, so example number 1, the Max Corporation has 3,200,000 shares of common stock outstanding. If a dividend of 4,500,000 was declared by the company directors last year, what are the dividends per share of common stock? So, given naman sa problem, okay, they have 3,200,000 shares of common stock. So, common stock siya. Okay. Since Max Corporation, wala silang preferred stock, the common shareholders will receive the entire dividend. Now, we can go directly to step 4, which is ito na yon. We will compute for the dividends per share. Okay, so in the problem, what are the dividends per share? Dividends per share for the common stock. So, ang gagamitin nating formula is the DPS for common. That is equal to the total common dividend divided by the number of shares. That's for the common. And the total common dividend, okay, so sabi dyan, a dividend of 4 million. So, ang dividend natin, total common dividend is 4,500,000 divided by the number of shares. Okay, so 3,200,000 shares of common stock. So we have the number of shares for common stock, we have 3,200,000. So just divide this to 4,500,000 divided by 3,200,000, and that is equal to 1.41 per share. At try natin. So we have 4,500,000 divided by 3,200,000. Okay, so we have 1.40625. Then, round off na lang natin to 2 decimals. So, 1.406. Katabi ni 0 is 6, so mag-add tayo ng 1. So, that's 1.41. Okay, that's per share. Okay, now your turn. Try number 2, pero sagutan na din natin. The board of directors of Net Incorporated declared a dividend of 300,000 pesos. The company has 60,000 shares of preferred stock that pay 0.50 per share and 100,000 shares of common stock. Now, calculate the amount of dividends due to the preferred shareholders and dividend per share of common stock. Okay, so given shares niya is 60,000, that's for the preferred stock, and then 0.50 per share. Tapos 100,000 shares for common stock, and so calculate the amount of dividends due to the preferred shareholders and the dividend per share of common stock. Now, since the preferred dividend is stated in pesos, di ba given na dun sa problem, ayan, the dividend per share is 0.50 and naka peso sign siya. In pesos siya. So, we have 0.50 per share. 0.50 pesos per share. The first step is dispense with. So, magpo-proceed na tayo into step 2. Now, the total preferred dividend is equal to the number of shares times dividend per share. Okay, so the total preferred dividend, ang number of shares is 60,000. And then, times the dividend per share given, 0.50 pesos. Okay, so 60,000 times 0.50 pesos, that is equal to 30,000. I-calculate natin. 60,000 times 0.50. 0.50, 0.5, that's the same. Okay, we have 30,000. Now, for the total common dividend, that is equal to total dividend minus the total preferred dividend. Okay, total common dividend, that is equal to, the total dividend is 300,000 pesos. Minus the total preferred dividend, ito yung complete natin kanina, which is 30,000 pesos. So, subtract. Okay, so we have 270,000 pesos. Now, let's solve for the dividend per share or DPS for the common. So, total common dividend divided by the number of shares for common. So, dividend per share for common, that is, okay, so the total common dividend is equal to 270,000. Yun yung na-compute natin kanina. Okay, total common dividend, 270,000. Divided by the number of shares per common, that is 100,000. So 270,000 divided by 100,000, that is equal to 2.70 per share. Okay, so that's for problem number 1 and problem number 2. So, ganun lang. Intindihin nyo lang mabuti yung given problem. Kung ano yung hinahanap. Now, let's proceed to the skill building activity on your modules. How to read a stock table. Any financial paper has a stock codes that will look something like the image below. Okay, so this is the image. And paano ba magbasa ng stock table? Okay, so this is the NYSE Stock Exchange for March 18, 2016. That's Friday. Now, paano ba magbasa or how to read a stock table? Okay, so this is the table. Column number 1, this is the column number 1. Okay, yung buong yan patayo. Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so for column number 1, company name and the type of stock. If there are no special symbol or letters following the name, it is a common stock. And then for the column 2, okay, this is the column 2. This is the ticker symbol, the unique alphabetic name which identifies the stock. So for example, dun sa 3D systems, okay, so the symbol for that is tatlong D, TDD. Tapos na sa 3M, okay, so MMM, alphabetic siya. And then for the column number 3, that's for the open. The amount of the stock price was at the opening of the market. Okay, that's the amount of stock price at the open of the market. And then for the column number 4 and 5, okay, so that's the day high and low. For the column 4, that's for the high, and then column 5, low. And C high, for the high, that is the maximum. And then doon sa low, minimum. So, the maximum and the minimum prices that people paid for the stock. Maximum price dun kay high, and then minimum price doon sa low. And then column number 6, close. The close is the last trading price recorded when the market closed on the day. So kung merong open, meron ding close. And then for column 7 and then column 8, column 7 is the net change and column 8 is the percent change. See, net change and percent change, this is the dollar value change and the stock price from the previous day's closing price. Tapos si column number 9, that is the trading volume or volume, ano dyan, nakasulat. And that is the total number of shares traded for the day. Then column 10 and then column 11, that's the 52-week high and low. So for the 52-week high, so 52-week high and then 52-week low. That is the highest and lowest prices at which a stock has traded over the previous 52 weeks. And that's for 1 year. And then column number 12, that is the dividend per share. Okay, dividend per share, ayan si DIV. The annual dividend payment per share. If this space is blank, the company does not currently pay out dividends. And then column number 13, that is the dividend yield, the percentage return on the dividend, calculated as annual dividends per share divided by the price per share. Column 14, that's the price or earnings ratio, calculated by dividing the current stock price by earnings per share from the last 4 quarters. So for more detail on how to interpret this, see our P/E ratio tutorial. And for the last column, column number 15, YTD, percent change, or ang ibig sabihin ni YTD is year-to-date percent change. This describes the return so far for this year, the period beginning 1st of current year up to until today's date. So that's how to read a stock table. Okay, erase na natin. Let's proceed on the exercise number 1. It's your turn to analyze. I-guide ko kayo kung paano siya sagutan. Exercise number 1, analyze the Philippine Stock Exchange in local currency and answer the questions below. So this table is the Philippine Stock Exchange as of May 31, 2019, 4:43:42 p.m. So you can see for the column 1, we have the number, then security name, symbol, last price, change, percent change, volume, and the value. So let's try to answer the questions. Okay, so for question number 1, what is the trading volume number of Ayala Land? So let's look for Ayala Land. Okay, so nandun siya sa number 1. And Ayala Land we are looking for the trading volume. So, nasa symbol, last price change, percent change. Ayun, we have the volume. So, we have 27,118,400. Number 2, what is the last trading price of the day of PLDT Incorporated? So let's look for PLDT Incorporated. Ayun, nandun siya sa number 7. And PLDT Incorporated, last trading price. Last price. Okay, that's naman yun. So we have 1,350. And then number 3, what is the net change of Mega World Corporation? Nasa si Mega World, yun, number 11. Mega World Corporation. And we are looking for the net change. Net change, yun. Change, then Mega World. So we have 0.02. Negative 0.02. Number 4. What is the total number of shares traded by the SM Prime Holdings Incorporated? SM Primes, SM Investment, SM Primes, number 8. SM Prime Holdings Incorporated, and the total number of shared. Okay, that is 7,313,100. And then, number 5. So for number 5, what is the percent change of the Jollibee Foods Corporation? Jollibee Foods Corporation. So Jollibee, Idaang Saya. Number 6, Jollibee Foods Corporation. Tapos, sinahanap natin is the percent change. Hindi sa change, percent change. So, dito tayo. Okay, that was Jollibee. So, we have 2.13%. Well, now it's your turn to answer the exercise number 2. Answer the following questions based on the data for May 31, 2019.